it's Mary, and I hope that you are doing well. Today we're going to do something a little different. So I think that sometimes when we think of science, we think of doing something technical with very specialized equipment. Whereas science is watching and noticing and tinkering and thinking and adjusting and asking questions much of the time. As Albert Einstein said, the important thing is to not stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existing. So today, we're going to use simple materials to make and fly rockets. So these are the materials we're going to use to make our rockets. I have 2 pieces of paper. I chose to use 2 different colors. You can use one color, you can decorate them if you want. A ruler, a pencil, a straw, tape, and scissors. The paper is 8.5 by 11 inch, and you want to cut each sheet into 4 smaller pieces. The easiest way I can think of to do that is to fold it in half, that way, unfold it, fold it in half the long way, unfold it, and just cut out your pieces. If you have a paper cutter and you can just measure it and lay it on there and cut it, go ahead and do that. That would make it all the easier. Next, we're going to take the pencil and roll the paper around the pencil. You don't want it to be so tight that you can't get the paper off, but you do want it to be tight. We're going to tape that. And the first time I did it, I taped it right on there. The second time I did it, I slipped it off of there first so I could straighten out any places where it rolled unevenly. Choose one of these ends, pinch it closed, and we're just going to take the tape and cover over that pinched end. So the first time I did that, I cut off the extra tape. You might not want to do that because that can affect our flight mechanism. This is our rocket body, so make as many rocket bodies as you want. I'm going to make one in blue also. So I am at the point with this blue one where I'm pinching the edge and I'm going to tape it closed. And what I realized was far easier to do than to rip off the tape every time I needed it was to just rip it off, stick it to the end of the table, and then just pull it off as I needed it. Next, we are going to make the fins for the rockets. So these are our rocket bodies. We're going to make the fins. So you just take one of those small pieces of paper that you cut again and fold it in half. So what we're going to do is cut along there to end up with something like this. I like to measure because that's the kind of girl I am. So the way I did this earlier was to go up to about 5.8 centimeters and make a little mark there. And I'm going to do that on the other end too, and make a little mark there. Then I laid the ruler down so it goes from that mark to the corner of the paper. And I drew a line, and I drew another line. At this point, you want to cut that out again. Well, cut that off. There. And there. So what you end up with is two triangles that have the fold along the right angle, edge, and you just open those up. And yes, we are just going to tape those onto our rockets. So since I like the idea of having different colors, I'm gonna put blue wings on my pink wings on my blue rocket and blue wings on my pink rocket. So I feel like it's easier to put the tape on there, fold it. I leave kind of a long end there to stick it on because it's not very wide tape. So getting that stuck on and staying stuck on, to me, seems to involve a long piece of tape. Do the same thing with that side. I'm trying to go across from it directly. And since from there I can better see where that would be, I'm going to tape the bottom down first. So what I did with the tape on the bottom is just tuck it up inside and use the pencil to hold it there. And that is rocket number 1. I'm going to make rocket number 2. We'll be back to fly them. So you might be wondering how we are going to fly our rockets, and that is where the straw comes in. So you're just going to place the straw inside the rocket, and there we go. So we talked about asking questions. So I'm going to fly this rocket, and then I'm going to see if I notice anything about the flight of it or if I have any questions about it. So I backed up the view a little bit just to point out that both of those rockets landed at about the same spot. And both of those rockets have 2 fins of about the same size, which got me wondering, how do fins affect flight? So I made a finless rocket, so there are no fins on this rocket, and I'm going to launch it and see if its flight is different than the others. Actually, I'm gonna do one back that way too and see. So I don't know if you were able to see that or not, but when the rocket with the fins flew, it had a straighter path. Whereas the rocket without the fins got to the point where it was tumbling over and it wasn't going in as straight of a motion. So it could be that fins add stability and help even out the flight path. And as I think about it, if I were in a rocket, I would prefer an even flight path to a flight path where the rocket was twirling all around. That I kind of feel like would make me sick. So that's the questions I thought of. If you came up with other questions, then you could think of a way to test your questions. So if you think that maybe the size of the fins will affect the flight path, or how far it goes, or whatever, then you could make multiple rockets to test your theory. You could take this project in whatever way you want. I hope you enjoyed our simple activity in science today, and we will see you again next week. Thanks.